Hello, everybody. This is Carol Maletta. Welcome to the Parenting 411 podcast, where we share information parents need from sources they can trust. As you can see today, I have stepped out of the Parenting 411 studio to join today's guest, Daryl Towe. He is a man of many talents and he is a catalyst for growth and elevation. He grew up in Norfolk, Virginia with 3 older siblings in an apartment with his siblings and his parents, and he witnessed firsthand the resilience and determination they had in challenging circumstances. From those humble beginnings, Daryl found passion in basketball and followed that journey from local courts to college and on to professional leagues overseas. He went on to form cross-training athletes into believers with his wife, where they are pouring into young children and teens and guiding them on their athletic journey. But Daryl's journey does not stop there. He also has ventured into filmmaking. He is now a first-time film producer working on a documentary about the legendary Boo Williams, a name synonymous with basketball excellence. And in today's episode, we're going to dive into Daryl's journey from athlete to coach to filmmaker and explore how he uses sports as a platform for a positive change and to get his insights on parenting young athletes. We'll also get him to share some teasers about his upcoming documentary and discuss the impact of youth sports on family dynamics. So join me in welcoming Daryl Towe. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. That was a great introduction. Great introduction.
Thank you. Well, I'm really talking about somebody that really is having a powerful impact on the lives of young people and really on the game of basketball. I can't wait for people to see your documentary. I think it's going to be really significant and really make an impact.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been a long time coming, so I'm ready too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your journey. Starting out, how did you come to love basketball and then just progress along that path that I talked about to coach and on?
Yeah, well, coming from where I come from, the Tidewater area, basketball is huge. Football started off as, the main thing, but it ended up transitioning to basketball, with the likes of Boo Williams and, taking over the Tidewater area and really pouring his time into us. But just coming up in the area, that was the thing. So if you wanted to find a way out of certain circumstances, it was basketball or drug dealing or doing something that, just trying to help you get out, and basketball was mine.
Yeah, I mean, that's still the case in a lot of areas still today. I mean, it really can be if children really work at the craft and, do well in school as well, because they kind of have to work their way up through high school, college, and all of that as a springboard to getting ahead. And so, we're going to talk more about Boo Williams later and his vision, and helping children get out. But, you've kind of followed in his footsteps a little bit, by creating CTAB. So talk about that and what's the meaning of the name of the organization and just how you and your wife came together to form that.
Yeah, it's cross-training athletes to believers. We are cross-training athletes' minds, their bodies, their soul, all around the board to be a productive, citizen, be a productive, a student athlete, and just want more out of yourself and in your faith. We're not Bible thumpers, however, we do practice and preach, faith. You got to have something to lean on when, adversity hits. You know, adversity always smack all of us in the mouth. I don't care if you're young, old, or whatever have you. It's going to be a moment in time when you have to find something to lean on. And basketball has a unique way of testing you to see if you built for this thing that you say you want. So, so we've been training kids 5 to 18, majority of the 10 years, but, you know, going along, we had some pros that want to come along and train with us, college athletes, young adults, and even, you know, some seniors and things like that. So we take, why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I'm one of the seniors, but anyway.
But, you know, we had a good time. We came out there and, you know, it was enlightening. So
it definitely was a lot of fun. And so for our audience, what I'm laughing about is that I discovered basketball through my sons. You know, most people, when they see me, they are just quite sure that I played basketball when I was younger, but I played every sport but that. I played volleyball and ran track for a while, but I didn't play basketball. I just didn't feel like learning another sport by the time I really had my growth spurt in 8th grade. So our sons started playing basketball, one of them playing for CTAB. And so anyway, I discovered basketball. There was a women's league, senior. He had to throw in the senior part. But yeah, so I was playing with a lot of ladies. I was the youngest. I was 50, and you know, we had players as old as 70. I mean, and really could run circles around me. But anyway, so I asked Daryl and his wife to come over and, you know, give us some skills so that we could, you know, really compete with some of those other teams. So we had a really good time.
Yeah, so. I mean, but that's what it's about. Basketball unites, and, you know, I don't care if you're white, black, you know, young, old. This basketball thing has a way of connecting people in excellent, you know, extraordinary ways that, you know, outside of the sport can propel you to certain things. So I believe that's one of the things that kept us around, you know, 10 years. This is our 10-year anniversary, but also too to have people say, "Oh, let me check on this program and see what they're about," because it's something different, something refreshing, and that's what we stand on.
Right, and that's, as I was talking with Lee, your wife, Coach Lee, you all will also meet her in another interview that I'm going to do, but that was something that I really liked about your organization, because as I said, I'd gotten a flyer from one of my son's other activities, and I was like, this is interesting. I'm surprised anybody would give us a flyer when we're playing for another organization. They're going to give us this. But I said, that's great, but I looked at it, and I don't know, it was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, wow, I really like what they're about. I mean, my son's already committed to this other thing, but, you know, I'm just going to send them a note because I really like, because what I saw was that you seem to care about the whole child. And then, of course, the faith that, you know, that got me as well, just to really be operating on principles beyond get out there and win by any means necessary. Absolutely. So I sent an email, you know, and I was like, and you all responded. I was like, it's 2 in the morning. They're up.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. That's for sure.
You know, so I think that really is a distinguishing factor about your organization, and so I definitely applaud you for that.
I appreciate it. You got to take a holistic approach to this thing, because right now it is the wild, wild west, and, you know, a lot of kids are going through some excruciating things, you know, with the growth of technology and all these different things. So they need somebody to come in that's going to be real with them, be authentic with them, but also have their best interests at heart while pushing them to be excellent on the court. You know, right. And we know that there are a lot of organizations that don't have that as their focus. Right. And so talk a little bit about how it's evolved from what you experienced as a player playing AAU, and, you know, what you're seeing now and how that's affecting what you do through CTAB.
We'll be right back after this.
If you're looking to reach a massive audience of parents and caregivers, then look no further than ProPix by the Parenting 411, the ultimate marketing program designed to skyrocket your brand to new heights. With ProPix, we've created 3 incredible packages to suit your marketing needs and budget. So let's take a look. First up is our social starter package. You'll receive a stunning graphic promo piece, plus we'll also feature your brand on the Parenting 411 Instagram page. It's the perfect way to make a memorable first impression and get parents buzzing about your business. Now, if you're ready to level up, our Parenting Pro package is where it's at. You'll enjoy all the benefits of the social starter package, plus more awesome benefits, including exposure on the Parenting 411 podcast, which reaches parents in more than 22 countries each week. But wait, there's more. For those seeking the pinnacle of marketing power, our Elite Exposure package is the way to go. You'll get even more exposure across our platform, including thousands of followers and connections on LinkedIn. Get ready to dominate the airwaves and establish yourself as the go-to resource for families everywhere. Take advantage of ProPix by the Parenting 411 today and unlock unparalleled marketing opportunities for your business. But I should tell you that prices are set to increase on November 1st, so act now. ProPix by the Parenting 411 is your passport to the hearts and minds of parents. Visit ProPixbyP411.com. Join us today and watch the magic happen.
And we're back with the Parenting 411.
The growth of the game and the youth sports has been great. Don't get me wrong, it has been great. But with that, when people find out, just like any industry, you find out how can you make money? How can you do this? And how can you, beat the competition or just elevate your brand, which is great. But it also comes with a level of greed, motives and a hungry that sometimes ain't good. Back when we came up, and kids are smart too, because, I used to watch my coaches and I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I had a level of, curiosity.
Okay.
Like, man, this man is, taking us to, Dunkin' Donuts to get some, donuts, and when he know we hungry, or pizza, or, $5 here and there, or just come to the court. It was more about, I want to see this young man succeed.
Right.
I don't care if he plays or not, but as long as he's in an environment where he's going to thrive and, feel a sense of family, that's what it was back then. And, back, I didn't know what I was looking at then, but now I know as a grown man, and that's what it's about. So I reached back to my coach, all my coaches that from from elementary school all the way up to college, I still communicate with.
Oh, that's nice.
And get valuable information from, or, do working on projects, or asking me to be the groomsman in their weddings and things like that. So it's a great thing. And then going to where it is now, kids are still smart. The game has evolved. Kids are still smart, and they know once they look past the free sneakers and the uniforms and the logos on the jerseys. Oh man, he really ain't have my best interest. Oh, this coach is da 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 da. They smart. They gonna figure out. So it's a lot of it's a wild west. It's a circus right now. But there are some great coaches out there that's doing it the right way, who are trying to get the kids thrive, who are a liaison between the parent and the coach, and really trying to help them navigate this. But it's bad out here.
Right. And you kind of have touched on kind of the pluses, the pros and the cons, or the benefits and some of the challenges of sports, especially the life skills, number one. I mean, obviously they're gaining skills to excel on the court and all, but they're learning a lot, the people skills, the discernment about who you align yourself with and all of that, and who's going to help you, who's out there to hurt you, not really looking out for your best interests. So they really get a lot out of the experience of playing basketball, organized basketball. I want to talk about how you incorporate positive reinforcement into your training of young athletes.
We take an approach where we tell them before they come on board, like when they're about to sign up, we say, hey, we're firm, but we fair. Okay. We're gonna love you, but we're gonna fuss you out. Like, so it has to be that balance. But the positive reinforcement is, we, when you're doing something right, we let you know that. But when you're doing something wrong, we're going to correct it in a way where it's not belittling you. You know that we mean business, and by the look on our face or the conversations we have. But at the same time, it's coming from a good spot. And a lot of things we do too outside of the court. If a kid go to college, we'll send them a CTAB hoodie or send them a care package to their university or wherever they go. Even if they're at a job, hey, come on over, have dinner and things like that. These are things to put them in a right space, whether they plan or not, to know, okay, I'm in a safe, positive environment. These coaches are really mentors and good people that will help me thrive. And I hope that answers your question.
Well, no, it gave even more information. And then it also reminds me of something that I talk about with parents. And it's really this, when I think about what parenting really is all about, it's affection, protection, correction. And I think of it as like a stool, a three-legged stool, right? And so if you're all affection all the time, but you're not correcting, right, it's not going to work. And if you're too heavy on the correction and your children don't see that you're coming from a place of love or, wanting their best interest. And then also the protection, like the boundaries, setting those up. If any of those are, fall off, you're really not giving everything you can. And I feel like sounds like there's a lot of that in your approach to coaching.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that's really good. And then as parents who send our children off to work with coaches and just other people, it could be, athletic coaches, it can be, ministry groups at church, or just other organizations in the community, or instructors when they're in the arts, they play musical instruments. You want to feel like you're turning your children over to people that have similar values and really care about your child, and not just the thing that they're there to learn to do. So what can parents do to help you all out on the other side, to reinforce what you're trying to build with them in the gym?
Yeah, I think trust, trust the process, but also trust, the organization to do what they say they're going to do. And if you feel comfortable with them, come up with a plan and really trust the process. Those who trust the process and us as coaches, they are the families and kids that thrive. The ones that don't trust the process or kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, they the ones that leave the program and eventually come back after it's too late and say, hey, I should have listened.
Oh, okay.
Right, that we still have great relationships with, but your kid has moved on to something else, whether he's happy or, in that gray area like I was, to, figure out what you can do when the ball go flat. Right. But to go touch on a little bit on your point about having that balance, a lot of coaches don't understand that it's a skill. It's really a skill to have that balance of, going hard on the kid or being truly transparent with the kid, with the family, or, having that softness, that kindness, right? It's a balance, it's a skill and something that you have to perfect, but before you perfect, they have to be in you. Like a lot of people say, I want to be a coach or I want to be a trainer, and they just go out there and they think it's about that, but they're not connecting with the families or the kids, so they have these disconnects.
Right.
But you gotta know who you're coaching, and off the court as well, the issues that they have going on. But yeah, that's one of the things that we take pride in.
Now, how about parents that you might encounter that have these big dreams for their kid that's
their son is LeBron.
Right. He's LeBron, and this is just coming through your program, just a formality, but they need their child to be out there because they just have this vision beyond. However, the athlete you're looking at, it's not there.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you handle that?
You just gotta be truthful. Like you gotta give them the real. You know, some parents are over the top and they just nah, you just don't see it, and like, okay, all right, okay, you go ahead and do that. They are not the families for the program. Period. And you got to be okay with that. You can't save everybody. You can't, you know, even though you got a good heart, you can't try to force people to see what's going on, but to be truthful with them. This is where your son is at. Yes, he has potential. Yes, he has an upside, but this is where he at. You have to take steps. You can't, you know, go to A and then try to skip all the way to Z. Right. It's a million steps in between. Now, in between that, are you going to trust the process? Is your kid going to do the work? Right? Are you going to listen? You know, are you going to follow the blueprint?
Right.
You know, that's literally what it boils down to. And there's a lot of parents out there that think their kids are Steph or LeBron, and you can't tell them nothing. And a lot of times, I'm telling you, like now, coaches are recruiting parents. They're recruiting parents at the college level. You know, when they go in that household, if the parents is doing too much, they're gonna leave. They'll never get a response again. They go to the games. If the parents is doing too much, all coming down on the bench trying to talk to Charlie and all, it's done. Even at the AAU level, we're getting to the point now. You have to recruit parents. Period. If the parents is doing too much early on in the AAU program and they, you know, ask all the questions. Like I was on the phone with a parent this morning. He asked a million questions and we talked and had this amazing dialogue, but it was cool because those are questions where you know it's coming from a good place. You need to know this your first kind of introduction to CTAB. That's fine. But when the parent comes off asking, you know, 1,000 questions, but then also not listening and kind of telling you what they want, but not listening to, you know, your expertise. Yeah, you know, thank you for the consideration, but we're good. Like you have to be that way.
Well, I hope parents are listening out there. I mean, I like that notion of recruiting parents. It's not just recruiting the athlete. Right. So that's something, anybody out there that's raising or wants to raise an elite athlete, that's something that they should know. Now, how about, do you have any success stories where you maybe had a child come into your program, had some skills, but you know, needed to really be refined. They weren't very sure of themselves, and they, on the other hand, their parents trusted the program. Let's see what happens, and things turned out well. Yes,
it's a few that I can think of offhand, but one in particular by the name of Mike Till. Mike Till was a kid that came to us 7th grade, who was a kid that was real scrawny. Like real little at the time, played point guard, just kind of all over the place. But one thing that Mike did and the family did, they showed up. Okay. He showed up for training, individual, group, signed up for Vertimax, the jumping and strength and condition. He did this literally for up into 7th grade all the way up into his senior year. Stacking up the days. And through this, you see his progression. Family never had an issue. If they did have an issue, they would email us or call us. Hey, Mike is going through this. Or, you know, somebody might have said this about y'all, and, you know, I want to know if that's true or not. We say, nah, we don't even know where they came from. We don't even know who that person is. Right. But we talked it out. Next thing you know, we're back in the gym and kept it moving. So Mike ended up going to a junior college. And before he got to junior college, mind you, he went to TC, where it was a turnover rate of coaches. So out of 4 years, he had 4 different coaches. So you're not getting involved with a solid philosophy for 4 years consecutive. That is very hard. Right. You know, at a high school level, young man trying to figure it out. But despite it all, he ended up going to junior college in California, went there, did his job, grades, graduated, and ended up getting a full ride to South Carolina State University. So he trusted the process, but he was a kid that didn't have a lot of opportunities and made a way. But it all started from them listening, trusting the process, and letting things happen.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
We got a few of them too in the program right now. Right. That been with us a couple of years. They new, but you can tell they get it, and and those kids are the ones is going up. And it only been, you know, one a year and a half, 1 2 years, and 1 6 months, and they all thriving.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, any other tips for parents before we move into filmmaking? Any more tips for parents for helping them to thrive in whatever sports program they're in?
Yeah, I would say push your kids.
Okay.
You know, we gotta. You know, our son is considered a young phenom, and we know what it takes to get to the level. And even if you don't know what it takes in basketball, you still know what it takes to have hard work and dedication or whatever it is in your field, and it will have great results. Do not feel a sense of I shouldn't push them as hard as I need to. Yes, you have your balances and stuff like that, but I would rather push them to get them to the level where they need to go, and be tough on them, because the world, especially for a young black man, you got to know how to respond in this world.
Right.
But if it's difficult in your household, when I say difficult, I'm not saying chaotic. I'm saying difficult and challenging, and you're being held accountable when you get out there in the world. Okay, I already seen this at home. Yeah, my mom held me accountable. Yes, it was tough, but look where I'm at. Look what I got. So, I had to fight with myself on it. Man, I'm pushing them too hard. Man, I say, you know what? Nah, you say this what you want, we're gonna go get it. And then I'm gonna figure out, how to kind of, soften it, and the different tricks and tips, hit up parents in 411 for guides to kind of smooth out the roughness. Okay. You gotta have resources. If it's available, take it. So that's why I'm excited for the things that you're doing with your brand, and taking the time to interview me on topics like this, because it needs to be intertwined into the culture.
Now, how do you still allow them, especially younger athletes, like your son? I mean, he was teaching me defense when he was like probably 5 or 6. So, but how do you still have them, quote, be a kid and do kid stuff and still excel in basketball or whatever sport it is that they want?
That's a good question. It's definitely challenging, but find times to let them go out and play and stuff like that. Now, for us in our household, we always in the gym. Out of 7 days, we're in the gym 5.5. So the days that he want to go out and play with his friends, let him go. Just go do something else, or if want to go hang out with a friend or whatever and play video games, we do that. Or I play video games with them. Okay. But then we're a true basketball family because we create games. Everything is competitive. They're kid games, but it always circles back to a competitive nature or basketball or something. So I think just figuring out what excites your kid outside of basketball, but also to, what works well for you.
Yeah, I think parents definitely need to remember that part. That they should have some outlets to just not be on, whether it's, because there's some parents that are really charge hard on the academics, which obviously we know that that's important, but they emphasize that almost like athletic training. And they need to do well at school, they need to do well at homework, and then they still have more work for them to do. And so having those moments for them to really discover what they're interested in and just step away and have a creative outlet is very important. Yeah. So it sounds like that's what you all are doing, and that's what you recommend.
It's tough, but you got to do it, just like you make a schedule for everything else. And I've been getting better at that. Lee has been getting better at that, just being intentional. If I'm working on a documentary for 2 hours, okay, take a break, and go spend time with young Isaiah or Christian or whatever, play blocks, Legos, and do whatever, and then get back to it, Just put it on your schedule like anything else. But that's it's difficult, especially in the work household, and a lot of things going on.
Yeah, and when basketball is your is your work and your play, right?
Yeah.
So what sparked your interest in filmmaking? Was it the subject, or were you interested in general?
I'm glad you asked that question, but before we get to that, I want to take the time to apologize to my mom and my family. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, family. Because we was at the Boo Williams premiere.
Okay.
And I think they asked me a question about family dynamics.
Okay.
And one of the first things, especially coming from, poverty or from the projects or wherever you come from, those circumstances, you oftentimes you think about the bad part. Everything that you didn't have or everything that you didn't experience and all the things, and that's kind of stitched in your mind. But when they asked me that question, and then after like 2 days later, I say, you know what? I did have a great experience where the family was together.
That's right.
We didn't have a lot, but we had love. I think that's what I said. Yeah, we had love. But part of that love was us sitting down and watching movies.
Okay.
That was our thing. We'll sit down as a family and watch the 5 Heartbeats.
Okay.
We would watch Sanford and Son, and that was our thing. We would sit down, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So just thinking back, like that, I always had a love for movies because of my family was doing that. But back then, I'm thinking we just watching movies.
Right.
All the way through these years, I always had an attraction to certain movies or documentaries and, all these cool stories that I never thought about because I was in the sport. So I ain't really care about it. I just watch it, love it, whatever, and move on. But this one particular day for like the last 6 years, I used to go to the NBA draft. Okay. I was blessed enough to have a client that invited me out to University of Kentucky. So the last time I went, I ended up going through the Barclays Center. As I'm walking through to get my ticket, comes past the metal detector, Spike Lee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. Mind you, I never thought about creating a film, documentary, movie, nothing. I did little stuff with CTAB, branding videos for athletes, highlights and stuff like that when that first got popular. But this particular day, he's walking past, him and his friend.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, cool. Oh, that was Spike Lee. Literally, he's like right here.
Okay.
Walk past, and I'm going past or whatever. So I'm thinking, all right, cool. That's Spike Lee. He's about to just beeline to where he's going. This guy goes and stops like 15 feet. Okay. Him and his friend. Right. So I'm like, you know how it is when you see a celebrity and not starstruck, but like, damn, that's Spike, man. I love his work. So not only did he stop, I get past the metal detector, we make eye contact.
Okay.
Like, hey, man, I don't know if he thought I was an athlete or whatever.
Right.
So we dapped each other up.
Okay.
Right, said what's up. It was like a moment, a weird moment. So anyway, walking off and, going into the draft or whatever. But for the next 2 years after that experience meeting him, I kicked myself in the foot. I'm like, man, why ain't you saying that, man? You're a chump, man. You're a punk. You ain't saying that. You was scared.
We all have been there. Yeah. We all have been there.
I had the whole experience for literally 2 years. Like, man, you that was your moment. But then after I got over that, the basketball, the competitiveness got him. I said, you know what? I'm gonna see him again.
Right.
So fast forward a little bit of time, I'm in the gym at the Boo Williams Sportsplex.
Okay.
And me and coach always say, hey, how you doing? How's the family? If you need anything, he'll tell me, if you need anything, let me know. And that happened every time I seen him since I was young. But this particular day when I seen him, he has two sides. He has an orange side, a green side. He was coming out one side, I was coming out the other. And we crossed paths. Lo and behold, we had the same eye contact that me and Spike had. It was like that same exact feeling. I'm like, what
Don't
is
miss
this?
the opportunity.
Don't miss the opportunity.
Yes.
And instantly it came to me, documentary. Like literally right then, I asked him, and he said, I said, Coach, anybody ever asked you to do your documentary? He was like, nah. He said, no, you talking about this? And he had somebody pull out their phone, and it was like a 2-minute video. And prior to, every time you look at Boo Williams, even now, outside of documentary stuff, you'll see 2 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 30 seconds here, or news clipping.
Right.
No story on him. And I say, no, it's something that we can try to shop to Netflix and da-da-da-da. And he's a visionary.
Right.
Instantly he said, let's set up a meeting next week. We set up the meeting, I pitched the idea. And I think that next week I was in California interviewing, one of the greats. And then from that, literally 3 years, we were just flying, driving, shooting, and all that stuff. But I never had a vision of filmmaking until that moment.
Wow, that's really special. And, what a great person to study and to showcase. And I have to tell you, I have not, like, since you've been working on it, and since I went to the premiere, I cannot say Boo Williams to anybody that does not know who he is.
Yep.
I mean, and these are people, not athletes, some are, definitely the ones that are. I mean, even in volleyball, and everybody knows who he is. So, I mean, and I can't wait for everybody to see the documentary. I know you're still, tying some things up with that, but talk about him. And just the impact he had on your life, playing, going through his programs, and then what you witnessed in him as a man, and that you've kind of taken on yourself in the work that you're doing.
Yeah, he's truly a hidden figure, right? Like truly a man of excellence, a man of integrity, a man of studying and learning and, absorbing all this stuff. So as I mentioned, as a young man studying, my coaches, by default, being curious, right? He was one of the guys, and I see how he move, and I'm like, what is he doing this? And he's going over here, and I didn't know his impact back then. As many kids didn't know back then, and they still don't know.
Right.
Younger kids for sure don't know, right? How legendary he is, but that's one of the things that I really want to highlight on. A lot of times, you can see somebody get to this level of greatness and being in these worlds and these circles, but their integrity is low.
Right.
Their motives are wrong, right? Or they got to do something, step on the back of somebody else to get to the top. Or you will find somebody who has an integrity, is doing it the right way, who is, a great human being, but they never reached this level of success or money or whatever it is, right? He has found a way to find the greatness, reach his dreams, reach his goals, while connecting these dots and doing it the right way. So that's fascinating. And for him to be a black man from, not just a black man, but a black man who came from nothing, $400, and built it into a $13 million facility.
Yeah.
Being in the Nike world where they respect his opinion, who have been the first Nike sponsored team. So all these different components and elements is very complex. He's already, I won't say a complex man, he's just a private man. He don't care about the fame. Okay. He don't care about like all the stuff there. He just want to help lives, eat good and just chill and coach basketball.
Yeah.
So it's a unique story, and I'm excited to tell it and tell who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really special. Now tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced. I mean, this is your first documentary. Right. You're moving into a new area. I mean, you had been in basketball and coaching and all of that, and your documentary is about basketball, but still it's filmmaking. Right. So what are some things that challenged you, and how had your experience journeying through basketball, the life skills and maybe professional skills that you acquired, help you on this journey?
We'll be right back after this. Are you a parent looking to unlock your potential in raising confident, capable, and courageous children? Well, look no further. Join us at the upcoming Parent and Purpose Summit Back to School Edition, where parenting experts from around the world will come together to share their wisdom and insights. I'm Carol Maletta, founder of the Parenting 411. This summit is your opportunity to gain essential skills and tools to become the parent you've always aspired to be. Over 5 incredible days, we'll dive deep into topics like positive discipline, effective communication, mental health, self-care, school readiness, and more. An attendee from our last summit told us, "This summit changed my parenting game. I feel more confident and connected with my children than ever before." So secure your seat at the Parent and Purpose Summit today. Visit parentandpurposesummit2023.com. That's parentandpurposesummit2023.com. And click the registration button to join us on this transformative journey. The Parent and Purpose Summit, where intentional parenting begins. And we're back with the Parenting 411.
I think the process has been challenging. It's not challenging because that's who I am. Like, I take on challenges, I figure it out. You know, I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. I see a vision, I'm going to do it until it get done.
Right.
So the process of it, just knowing it, like the technical stuff of it, you know, how to create the story, how to edit, or, you know, need lighting, you know, these cameras or this camera do this, you know, from the beginning of it, I was about to mess some stuff up, you know, in the very beginning of it, you know, but that was, you know, that comes with anything. Anything you do, you trial and error. It's just my trial and error I have, and I learned, you know, now, you know, from some of the OGs or the older coaches, you know, never stop learning.
Right.
You know, so throughout this process, I'm learning everything in real time. You know, so some of the challenges was, you know, the process, but then also too, you know, taking money out your own pocket. You know, we're entrepreneurs. Like, so we don't have a 9-to-5 to rely on. Like, you got to go out there and get it, create the opportunities, and, you know, take some money from the household or for personal to put towards a project to see that dream come to life. And not once did I say it's not going to work out or I don't want to do this. Right. It's another challenge that I've been through many times in life. But one thing about basketball and sports, it teaches you how to face adversity head on. You know, and you attack. One of my good friends, he said that. He said, Daryl, I think one time I was kind of frustrated a little bit. He said, Daryl, man, attack this like you would with basketball.
Okay.
He said, he said, right now, you know, you're playing defense. You got to play on offense.
Okay.
Like, play both, but offense, you have to be aggressive, just like basketball.
Right.
And that's how I was thinking. I was frustrated, but at the same time, you know, dealing with the amount of people that I'm dealing with who at certain levels and rooms and stuff like that, it can be intimidating for one, not because who they are, you know, in terms of their name or their title, but it's intimidating coming from a young man from a small town who have never been in such rooms. You always see it in your mind, but when it actually happened,
right,
that's a different ball game. Like, they may say yes to whatever you say, but it's also that fear, because a lot of times is our people, you know, we operate out of fear.
Right. And, you know, we have to recognize, too, if they say no,
Yes,
it might be not now, not yet, or they just weren't the ones that were supposed to say yes to you. You need to go somewhere else. I mean, and you, even when you talked about you were hesitant to speak to Spike Lee, I had a moment like that last summer where we were at a conference. My son and I were at a business conference, and there was someone that was on stage, had just spoken at on a panel about technology and all of that. And they had talked a little bit about parenting and the impact of technology on the family and how families can leverage it. But he wasn't even the one who spoke about that. It was someone else. But anyway, he was walking by, and I'm ordinarily hesitant as well. So I'm not going to say anything. But something just told me to say.
right.
Say hello to him and say, talk about the panel in general, about that I'm glad they brought parenting into it. And he was like, oh, really? And, you know, so what do you do? And so I told him all about it. Standing right there, he told me he had a platform he wanted me to be on. And that was like, and he followed through on it too. That was months later that we did it. And it was actually my first time participating in a metaverse conference, right? And so, and then I just got off the phone with him yesterday, and he's talking about another stage he's thinking about me for. And I'm like, I never thought I was going to get on that stage. But it just shows what, you know, you got to go for it sometimes. And all they can do is say no.
That's it. Just imagine if you didn't say anything.
I know.
You would have thought about that over and over and over, which would added a sense of anxiety, right? Or scarcity kind of feeling, but then also you would have missed out on the opportunity. Right.
And sometimes it pays to even speak to people that you don't think you're going to have anything in common with, because I thought of all the people on that panel, I would have the least in common with him.
Right.
And he's just already, you know, he followed through on what he said, like standing right there right that day. I mean, he wanted my headshot and my one sheet the next day. You know, and then he put me in for this, you know, that metaverse conference. And then, like I said, he was like, I was already thinking about you for, you know, this other thing. And I mean, if he does that,
Yeah, he said it's over.
That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, speak to people even if you think you don't have anything in common with them. I mean, you can learn from each other. You might have something they need because you know there's definitely give and take.
Right.
It's
Sure.
not always about meeting people and seeing what they can do for you.
Yeah.
So it definitely pays to make those connections. So. Talk about what, given your journey, how would you talk to young people about things that they want to do, whether it's in sports or a new area, like filmmaking was new for you.
Yeah.
So what kind of wisdom could you hand down for them?
I would say try anything. Try any and everything. The things you're passionate about, don't let anybody talk you out of it. If you feel a burning desire inside your heart or inside, you see something in your mind, just go for it. You know, I done tried many things, and my wife can tell you, and before she knew me, my friends and best friends can tell you, they say Daryl's always into something, but he always finds himself in a certain situation that will help elevate him to another one. But all that came from just, trying things out. I done tried rapping. I done tried working a 9 to 5. It just didn't, I couldn't feel it. I done tried managing artists. I done tried everything under the sun. And then, when this opportunity came, it just felt right. And when you know it, you know it. Like you gonna get that feeling that comes over you. It's not gonna be as difficult as all them other things was. And then God gonna show you. So you gotta have that faith and lean on that. And once you find that and your purpose is lights out. Now everything is to continue on that work ethic, but to just never stop. And when you have those moments like me and you talking about, you gotta embrace it. Because that time is gonna come. And some of the people, and this is the other thing, young people. Along the way of all these different things, they're going to meet someone.
Right.
And that person that they met earlier at that 9 to 5, earlier at that record company, may not tie into them right now, but it may later. Or they may have learned something in that moment that will help them when they do find their purpose. All the people who maybe, snaked me or just did something wrong or just I met along the way that gave me a jewel, I can think back to every single time a lesson that I learned to now I'm like, okay, I stacked up all these lessons. Now I know how to navigate when I get to that space where I can operate in.
Yeah. I mean, people definitely drop into our lives for a reason and a season. And sometimes they're there for the long haul, but then sometimes they're gone. I mean, and you just have to be thankful for it. And like you pointed out, sometimes it might not have been a pleasant situation, but you learned from it. So that's definitely a good tip. Now, you mentioned your wife. So talk about what it's like building something together, and then also balancing that with family life.
It's bittersweet. It's difficult, but it's fulfilling. Like anything, everything you do, it always goes back to balance. And it could be difficult anytime you're in a relationship. You need time, sometimes to yourself, and but then you got time to, together. But then you got kids and all these different components in this mixing pot that you're trying to figure out what it's like. The beauty of what we have, we're both basketball minded. We're sports minded. We have a heart for people. We have a heart for the youth. We're competitive, and we have a lot of same values when it comes to parenting. Even the stuff that we don't align with, we have the responsibility and the mindset of I need to learn this. Oh, my way may not be right. Okay, how did you grow up? How you learn that? Our thing, and vice versa, but our thing is, her family sits at the dinner table when they talk. That's how she was raised. They'll sit at the dinner table, they'll talk to wee hours of the night and about conversation at the dinner table together. My family didn't do that. We ate in separate rooms. My dad might be watching the game over here. My brother might be over there, rapping or listening to LL Cool J. Yeah, I might be in here, so, but it wasn't, that's just saying.
It's just a different style.
It's a different style. So when it comes here now, I see the value in sitting down at the dinner table. It may be awkward for me because I'm still learning this. I used to feel like it was corny.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think it really helped our sons to learn how to speak, offer their position, and, sometimes it's not accurate or whatever, but they could get more information and learn from it, or, school us. School us parents sometimes, and I can just really see where that was a benefit. And I didn't necessarily grow up that way either, because I was a picky eater.
Okay.
So, they just couldn't sit around and wait for me. So a lot of times we started out together, but we didn't do a lot of talking there. Okay. We talked in general, but we didn't sit there and talk. And I think that is really so special. You really get to learn about what your children are thinking, what's in their hearts, what they want to do, and also just take care of family business around the house, like, making sure everybody's doing their job and things like that. And that was also, the dinner table was also where they got their allowance too, so it really paid to, to sit there and talk to us. But I think that's so important. I'm glad that you all do that. Yeah. Now, I'm curious regarding CTAB, was that the idea of one of you, or is it something you both thought of doing? Like when you got married, and did one of you already have the idea that I'd love to create this organization for young people, or how did it come about?
I got fired from my job. Working at a residential treatment center with, kids who are at risk and, come from different circumstances, whether it's, it was bad. You had some kids who was molested, suicidal, kids who just from the neighborhood, robbing, stealing. Well, anyway, they all, in this facility, and my job was to go in and connect with them and have them a part of certain programs and stuff like that. But this particular day, I think I was working there 3 or 4 years or something like that, and one of the kids was having a bad day. He wanted to take his medicine, and he was off. He was a good kid. We always got along, but anyway, ended up being an incident or whatever, and I didn't do the proper technique, and I ended up getting fired. So I got fired, trying to figure out what I was gonna do. I think at that time, CT was 1. Okay. So trying to figure out, man, be broke, where's it gonna come from?
Right.
So end up going back, and this is the power of relationships again. Okay. I told maybe 1 or 2 people this, but the power of relationships and never burning bridges, and having people around you who are spiritually grounded, who can pray for you, cover on you, but also too that want to see you win. Right. So I ended up calling one of my good friends that played at junior college with me by the name of Lee Green. Okay. He's down in Texas. He has been in youth sports. At that time when I connected with him, he was already in like 4 or 5 years in, like figuring it out, running his program and stuff like that. So I said, man, who can I call? Like, I don't know. I used to try to call him all the time, and he wouldn't answer. Vice versa. Like literally for years. Okay. We talk on social media or whatever, but it won't like that. So this particular day I called him, he answered. Okay. And we got to talking or whatever, and I told him, I said, man, I don't know, I want to do something in basketball. I don't know what it is. And he said, man, it's funny you called me. I had a dream last night. And he said, man, it's heavy on my heart and I ain't know what to do with it. He said, man, he kept saying, he was like, see, it's something I see, like C, T, and then he said, man, you know what, man, forget it. I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna call you back. Oh, okay. He called me back like 10 minutes later. He said, yo, it's CTAB, cross-train athletes into believers.
He said that?
He said that. Yeah.
Wow.
He said that. He said, man, I thought it
for you?
For me. No, he thought it was for him. He thought the whole dream and the whole thing he was feeling was for him. Okay. Mind you, he already had his program. Okay. Right? So he was like, I thought it was for me, but it's for you, dog. Wow. And then that moment when he said that name, cross-trained athletes into believers, CTAB, I promise you the whole vision came to me. And I said, Lee, this is what we're gonna do. I said, it's gonna be an academy. And I started writing, had her help me with the proposal, kind of like the bullet points and stuff. But like anything that I do or touch and embark, once I see, I don't care, the first thing I started with was the logo. Because I got to see that first. Forget all the words and all the No, show me the vision of like the logo and the graphics, and then they'll go. So boom, we did that, and then from there, maybe like 6 months later, Lee was filling out the application for the nonprofit stuff. We got that approved. I think they said like a year or a year and a half at that point. We got it back in 6 months.
Okay.
You know, everything was flowing. But yeah, it stemmed from, that's how it came about. Me getting fired, me having somebody in my corner that I can trust and speak life into me. And he shared the information. He could have said, this is for me.
Exactly. That is what is fascinating to me. Yes. He really could have kept that for himself. Or could have been like, yeah, nah, man, I don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah, that's it.
You know?
As many people do.
Right. 10
years later, a 10-year anniversary, he's watching, he's supporting, we, you know, support each other.
Good.
And it's just all love, and anything I can do to help him, vice versa. But that's how it came about.
Wow. And I mean, none of that like even surprises me. Because like I said, when I discovered you all, and then I think during the course of playing basketball, we ended up seeing you all at a game or something like that. And so I could picture you all doing that. And that's, you know, that's what I really admired. I was like, I really like these two. Yeah, they really work hard. So yeah, congratulations on all that you, you know, you've been able to do. So when you look ahead, what are you seeing for CTAB?
I see CTAB having our own facility. Okay. That's the next step. You know, you can grow, you can, you know, elevate and have all these cool stuff, but you got to scale. So right now we're trying to scale where we have a facility where we can run all our programs, life skills, our clinics, you know, we'll have sleepovers, all this like the modern day Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So we're pursuing that for 2024. We have been pursuing it before, but you know, when you're growing something, it's like a million parts. So that's our focus for that, and to build our teams continuously and raise our son to be one of the tops that come out of the program.
Well, you know, I can really see it, because it does seem like when you two decide you're going to do something, you like do it. I mean, like even I remember when you were telling me, because you mentioned earlier that you did branding videos for your organization, for your players, and you did some for me. And when you were telling me, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore because I'm going to be doing a documentary, and I was like, wow. You know, but I didn't, I mean, it was like, wow, it came out of nowhere to me, but then I was like, but I know. But I knew you would do it. I knew you would do it. So I was like, okay. I mean, I'm sad, but I know it's for something really positive. So you know, I can't wait to see how that turns out. And so, do you have any last thoughts? Now you have a younger child too. So like, how old is he now? 3 or 4? Okay, so he's 4. So what about children that are that age? For you know, parents out there that want to, they're not even thinking ahead to playing in college and all of that stuff, but what are some good ideas for how to introduce their children to sports and to maybe find one that they really like and enjoy, and you know, excellence can follow, but that's the first part, is that they really enjoy it.
I would say stuff around the house, you know, whatever sport it is, you just kind of do little stuff and, you know, do everything in steps. Things like that. Like in our household, we have before it was the hoop, we had like we're shooting the basket, the trash basket. Like make it a game. If he's throwing away the trash, you kind of shoot it up, and all those little moments kind of, so when they see it on TV or they see it out in real life, they kind of correlate that particular thing they did at the household to the sport itself. And, you know, just play games with it, make up little games and things like that. But then also kind of listen. That's one thing that I learned in this parenting thing, and to listen. Because sometimes you can look at a 4-year-old and you think, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Or, you know, what is he talking about? It's baby talk.
Right.
No, they're communicating in a way that you just have to listen and pay attention to what they're saying. They'll tell you exactly what they want, what they don't want. Through the course of time, as you know, my son is a 13-year-old, you'll figure out what they want to do, or even then, you're still trying to figure it out. But just, you know, just listen to them. You know, don't try to talk them, because our son tell you clear as day. One day he'll say, I don't want to play basketball. I don't like basketball. Give me a Ninja Turtle. I want to do karate or I want to do football and I'm trying to push basketball, I say, you know what, let me listen and just work on him with what he likes and what he's passionate about. And then if basketball or whatever sport it is, it'll come back around.
All right. Well, you have shared a lot of valuable information for parents out there who have children that want to explore sports, and I think you've really given them some tips for how to do that and just see where it leads. So why don't you tell us how we can find you on social media, your website, or any of those places?
Yeah, you can find us at ctabhoops.org, or you can find us on Instagram at ctabhoops. And for all the video production things, they can find me at conqueringpurpose.com or at conqueringpurpose on Instagram.
Sounds good. And I strongly encourage you to follow. They have a lot of exciting things going, whether you're local or you live far away. I think you can learn a lot from their methodology. And we didn't talk much about the fact that Daryl is an author too. And his book was, what's the name of the book again?
Conquering Purpose, 7 Assists to Overcoming Average.
Right. I read that book several years ago and really thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots of life lessons in there because remember, there's so much you can learn on and off the court while you're playing basketball. And those skills are definitely transferable. And so, as always, follow me at the Parenting 411 on Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube. You can also catch this interview on YouTube and catch up on any other episodes that you've missed. By all means, like, share, and subscribe. And I want to also encourage you, if you also have a business or a service that you want to get out there in front of parents, by all means, visit propixbyp411.com. That's a program that we have for businesses that really want to reach parents, that really want to enrich the lives of children, and really buy into the motto of the Parenting 411, which is information parents need from sources they can trust. So if you fall into that category, please visit propixbyp411.com. And as always, remember, it's never too late to be the parent you want to be.